Today I'm going to make penne puttanesca. This is a delicious, super flavorful pasta. Here are the ingredients. Let's get into it right now. Okay, puttanesca, this is one that's been on our site for years, but it's time for a video. If I'm honest, there was an old video, and it was a very old video when I had a long ponytail and it was really bad audio. So it's time for a new video. The recipe is going to be basically the same. Puttanesca is delicious. The key ingredient to it is anchovies. If you don't have anchovies in it, you're not making puttanesca, you're making an olive sauce, I would guess. I'm using 5 anchovy fillets that I just mashed. You don't even need to go through the extra process of mashing that I showed with the back of the knife. They'll evaporate quickly enough in the oil with the garlic. And in addition to the anchovies, yeah, we're gonna cook a ton of garlic in there. That's 6 cloves that I sliced very thin. The recipe says 1 cup of olives. I did like heaping cups today, so a little bit more, but these are the Sicilian green olives. They're very hard to remove the pits from, so I made a slit on both sides of this. I don't know if you can see. And that will allow me to kind of like rip the olive pit. It's hard to remove them, so I recommend if you can, get them where they're already pitted. And then these are my favorite type of olives in the world. These are oil cured, go by oil cured Moroccan olives, and the flavor is just incredible. Oil cured, you can rinse them a little bit to remove some of that salt because they are very salty, and I recommend you do the same thing with your capers. This is 2 tablespoons of just capers. Capers, if you want to get a good deal on capers, buy your capers at Costco. We just did a full podcast episode on everything you can buy at Costco, and one of the things was capers. Get a jar this big versus, you go to a supermarket, it's a little tiny thing and it's the same price. So, yeah, I mean, these capers will last forever. They're in vinegar. So you can use more or less of all of these ingredients if you want. I like to go for about a cup and a quarter of olives. Mixed ones, Gaeta olives are delicious too if you have them. Kalamata are fine. We're gonna use penne. Okay, I just got a pound of DiCecco penne. I have 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, and I have that 1 can of plum tomatoes that I hand crushed. We will use extra virgin olive oil. This is Partana. It's a good olive oil. It's a really good olive oil, Sicilian olive oil to make a puttanesca with, though you could use something on the less expensive side, or you could use something on the more expensive side like Frantoia or Barbera. But I typically will cook with the Partana, and I will finish with this one. Basil for finishing. I just got a nice little plant today because summer is over, so I'll rip a couple leaves off there, and you could also use parsley too. You do about a couple tablespoons of each, up to like a quarter cup, or really whatever you want. This is super simple. I suggest you get your water up to boil right now because the sauce can be made in 15 minutes. I removed the pits from the green olives off camera. That was a pain to do that. As you do that, throw away each pit. Don't mix your pits back up if you put it in your pasta. And then the same thing with these oil cured olives right here. Run your hands over them because I'm telling you, you buy pitted olives, there's always going to be an olive that slips by the pitter, the person who is responsible for removing the pits. And most of the time, it's not a person. This is all done with a machine. Just be careful because, if somebody doesn't expect something and then they bite down hard, that's when they can break their tooth. Okay, so I just went through there. They're good. Maybe you don't want as many olives as I have here. Just use a little bit less then. Super easy recipe here. Get your water to boil. I'm using this thing, kind of high wall pan. It's around 4 quarts. This is gonna allow me to fit a full pound of pasta and my sauce. So I'm on a touch less than medium heat here. Maybe like a 4 out of 10. Gonna use extra virgin. I got the nice Partana here. Just gonna coat the bottom. This is an oily, salty, good dish.
Pungent.
Pungent is the right word. Okay, I'm putting the anchovies in as well. So listen, the anchovy, because we mashed it with our knife, it's going to just really evaporate into the oil. If you don't like anchovy, don't make this dish because it's, and I'm using 5, but a lot of recipes will use 10 or more. It's one of the best flavors in the world. A lot of people you just put a little bit in for it. No, I like a lot of it. Okay, so we're gonna let this cook for about 2 more minutes so the garlic gets nice and golden and the anchovies really evaporate. Okay, so this is how the garlic looks after about 2 minutes. You just don't want to burn it, but you definitely want to get some color on it. I'm going to use about 1/2 teaspoon of the crushed red pepper and then let that permeate the oil just for a second. Woo, that'll go right up your nose. This is 2 tablespoons of the tomato paste. And we just want to cook this in the oil for about 3 to 5 more minutes. It's going to get rid of some of the metallic taste of it. If you think you're burning, just pull it off the oil and just use a little bit of water. And that'll lower the heat tremendously. And then you can go right back and put a tiny bit more in. So I just added a little bit more water. Basically, we're trying to cook it out to look like this. Tomato paste, you don't have to use, but I find it makes it better. I'm going to put in the 28 ounces of tomatoes. It's a very deep, intense sauce, and I think the tomato paste goes along with it, with those anchovies. I use a lot of tomato paste in my cooking. Don't buy the tubes. The tubes are such a waste, and the tubes aren't even concentrated. They're like liquidy. Medium heat, let's a little bit more, bring it up to a simmer. I'm gonna add in the olives as well, and the capers. So let's bring this all together. We're gonna let this simmer for about 15 minutes total. So after about 3 or 4 minutes of simmering, that's when you get your pasta in. You always wanna have your sauce ready for pasta. Never finish your pasta before your sauce is done, all right? Because your pasta then will just be sitting and clumping and going bad. I mean, I don't have to tell you, you're not gonna need salt in this. By cooking it for 10, 15 minutes, it's just gonna take some of the water out of it, which the tomatoes have. Okay, so that's coming to a simmer right there. Just let it simmer like this, maybe a touch lower until your pasta is finished. Okay, I brought the other burner over here, so I can just take my burners wherever I want. My water is boiling. So 2 tablespoons of salt, kosher salt, whatever. This is Morton's kosher salt, which is almost the same salinity as regular table salt. So we're gonna cook this pasta to 1 minute less than al dente. The Checo will always tell you, they say 12 minutes for regular, 10 minutes for al dente. So I would just go 1 less than what they say, and then you can start checking it that it's done. Just stir it for about 30 seconds when you initially put it in so it doesn't stick. Don't put any olive oil in the water, no matter what Gordon Ramsay tells you. Basically, we want just when the pasta comes out, we want to be able to put it in here, finish it in here. We want that sauce to penetrate and stick to the pasta. And you can see that's already thickening up nicely. So the pasta's gonna be done in a couple minutes, maybe 1 more minute. Let's just check the sauce, adjust pepper if you want. That is good. It doesn't need anything. It doesn't need a thing. Definitely no salt, doesn't need pepper either. It's got a nice spice. Pasta is almost ready for here. That is the consistency of the sauce. So see how much thicker it is from 15 minutes ago when we started making it? Now, if you think it's too thick right now, save your pasta water. So all I'm gonna do when I drain my pasta, I'm just gonna use a spider. This is the tool of choice always to do this, because then you just you leave your pasta water in there. Okay, so you can put this down to like 3, maybe a 4 out of 10. I'm just draining it and then putting it in there. To drain it, just go like this. Just knock it. It'll take away most of the water. The sauce is very thick. You can have a little bit of the water still dripping on it. It just really matters what type of sauce you're making if you need to do this or not. I'm gonna cook it through here, and let's just get it right to al dente. So it's 1 minute less than al dente. That means we're just gonna cook it, and you can see right now how much this sauce is gonna grab this pasta. It's just gonna grab it, and it's gonna be delicious. Like, we want the noodles to like turn red. So if we were just to take the pasta out and then just dump the puttanesca sauce on top of it, it wouldn't be as good as it can be. Basically what we're doing is we're marrying the two together. Now for your taste, it might be okay, but I think it's a little dry. So what I'm gonna do is just take a ladle of the pasta water right in there, okay? And just mix that through. That's all you have to do. Starchy pasta water is gonna help. It's gonna help it stick more, and it's gonna give us just a little bit more sauce here, which is what we need. And now it just looks perfect. I'm gonna do a little taste test. Make sure the pasta is perfect. A little bit on the hard side there, maybe another 30 seconds. I do like it more towards that, really al dente point. Perfect consistency there. Let's get a little bit of parsley on and basil, or not. If you don't like it, you don't have to, but freshness is great. Kind of like balances out that really potent flavor. You let me know after you eat it if you want cheese, but I don't think you're gonna need cheese.
This is the last taste test James will be doing with braces.
Oh yeah.
So for those of you who have
2 more days.
That's right. So for those of you who have been watching the channel since James was a wee little person, you've watched him go through his braces, and now he's about to get them taken off.
If you watched from this channel from a long time ago, the best video ever, James, is the chicken franchise one.
Is that the leather jacket?
The leather jacket one. It's from like 4 years ago when the chicken franchise. The video's still up. I have kind of privated a few older videos but I am keeping #1 for posterity. What do you think of this one? Tell what's good, what's bad about it.
Can I try it with cheese?
Yeah.
Well, could I tell you how I feel about it?
Yeah. Uh-oh.
No, it's like not bad. It's just that I really like it. It's throwing me off because like the olive flavor needs to be toned down a little bit. I can't even really taste like the sauce. I just taste like pure olives.
I disagree with you. but I value your opinion too. So if you want less olives, we used about a cup. You could probably go down to a half a cup, and that might help maybe lower those olives and increase the capers.
Yeah, increase the capers.
They're similar flavor, especially the green olives and the capers.
This is tough. I think this will get like an 8.5. Like I was gonna do a 9, since there's just like a little more improvement, but it needs to be like a little more than 9.
James, I'll take it.